Coach, what's been your thoughts on Wiggins?
I'm sorry?
What's been your thoughts on Wiggins so far this season? Just numbers across the board have been up.
The season he's at, yeah. Wiggs is playing great. He's in a good place, physically, emotionally, and his play is reflecting that. So it's really fun to see him playing at a high level.
Draymond being out tonight, he's listed as out with an illness and the back injury. How big of a concern is the back specifically?
It's always a concern. You remember a couple of years ago, I think 22 season, he missed probably 15, 20 games when the back flared up. So, we just have to stay on top of it. Training staff is doing a great job with him, and Draymond has done a great job of just doing his rehab and making sure he's keeping himself in good shape. But it's always a concern.
Is this injury similar to that one?
I don't think so. I think he should be fine going forward. But we just take it day by day.
Is tonight more the illness?
It's whatever it is, he's out. So I don't concern myself with the details.
Do you have any understanding on the Jamski timeline at all? It kind of
not really. It's been longer than we had hoped, but that's sometimes the case with these abdominal strains. They're tricky. So he got a good run in today at shoot around and said he felt good. So that's positive.
And Gary, there was some thought about maybe today.
Yeah. He scrimmaged yesterday, got a good workout in today. I think the idea is just to be safe and give him another couple of days, see how he responds, and hopefully he'll play in Minnesota.
Coach, general question about the game. Defending in the NBA has become harder and harder over the last years between the rules and the growing players' skill set. You as a coach, have you adjusted yourself to it, especially in terms of tactics over time? Yeah,
you have to adapt to the rules. You have to adapt to the trends, how teams are playing. A lot of teams are playing 5 shooters now. We played Indiana the other night. They had, all 5 guys are three-point threats, so the whole lane is open. You have to cover a lot of ground, and you have to kind of pick your poison in some ways, decide what you want to give up, what you don't want to give up. We've all become very analytically driven, trying to take away free throws, corner threes, that kind of stuff. And then the league is being officiated completely differently this year than it was last year. So you adapt to that too. And these are all the discussions we have every day in coaches' meetings and in the summer, talking about, plans for how we're going to defend and all part of it.
Following up that question, would you change any rule that gave the teams more room for defense?
Would I?
Yeah. Would you change any rule just to have more room to?
This is you're opening up a can of worms right now. I don't know if I want to go down this path.
No, I'm looking for any controversy.
Yeah. I've always been interested to see what would happen if they just didn't have defensive 3 seconds. And I don't know the answer. I think the fear is that the game will slow down too much and it'll be too clogged. But the way everybody shoots, no, I don't know why we have 3 defensive 3 seconds. So I would be interested. I think that would be something that would be worth experimenting with in the G League or Summer League or something. But I've experienced FIBA the last few summers, and the FIBA game is very different. And there's a lot of stuff I liked about FIBA that might make sense in the NBA too.
Thank you,
Steve. When you're trying to gain traction, how important or / frustrating is it when your starting lineup is either kind of routinely available or just kind of guys are in out, guys are in out?
It's frustrating, but that's kind of the deal. Everybody deals with it. Every coach in the league, unless you just have one of those years where you stay healthy. It's also the advantage of having a younger team. I think when I first started with the Warriors, most nights I knew who my starting lineup was, and that was a blessing. And the reality is different now, just with the age of our team. So it's all part of it, and you just keep moving forward. You don't stop and think about it much.
Coach, just to go back to what you were saying about how the league has changed, you guys have obviously been at the forefront of a lot of very influential stylistic trends and shifts in the game over the last decade or so, offensively and defensively. Obviously, that has a lot to do with who's been on your team, but I wonder, as a coach, what the balance is like between, say, wanting to play a style that caters to your best players, but also maybe identifying the way that the league is trending and wanting to keep up with or adapt to that, or maybe like identifying a tactical blind spot that you can exploit. Like, what's the balance there like?
Yeah, I think you organizationally you want to be able to match your roster with with those trends, and so defensively, that's why we're all looking for 6'8" guys who can switch and guard multiple positions. Offensively, we're all looking for players who can shoot. That's where the game has changed the most, I would say. Even in my 10 years here, it's just the number of 4 and 5 men who can shoot. I look back at my first couple of years, there were so many games we'd play where the 4 and the 5 on the other team couldn't shoot. You could do anything you wanted defensively and cover ground because you didn't have to worry about 2 guys. And so that's changed dramatically, but it's not easy, obviously, to put together rosters that make perfect sense for what's happening and try to adapt at the same time. So sometimes it's just you hit a sweet spot like we did for 5-6 years, and you kind of nail all of that, and then you go through a period like we're going through now where we're trying to make it make sense. And but I think that's kind of what the league is about. Probably every sport, it's ever evolving, and you have to adapt and try to find out the best formula to win.
Are you thinking at all about kind of like anticipating maybe the next trend and sort of trying to plan for that?
No. I mean, I've never considered myself a visionary, to be honest with you. I think I inherited a team that fit my style 10 years ago, how I like to play anyway. And then I had a lot of experience with some visionaries, Mike D'Antoni being one of them. I mean, he's the guy I thought who really changed the way the league started to think. And but none of our teams have ever had a ton of 3-point shooting. We've all been all of our teams have been very top heavy. So our theory, my first few years, was let's shoot as many threes as possible, but let's make sure it's Steph and Clay and Draymond who are shooting. And now what's happened is, you got teams like Indiana the other night shooting from all 5 spots. That's really hard to guard. And it's I don't think a whole lot about what's next. I just try to adapt our team to what makes us, what gives us the best chance to win.
Coach, when it comes to Chris Boucher, he was a guy that you had in your organization for a little bit. He only really got into one game with you guys, and he's come to Toronto, and he's currently the longest-serving player of this Raptors team. What do you sort of make of sort of his career arc and sort of what he's been able to make of his time in the
It's kind of amazing. He's been here, about 8 years now, or
2018.
So 7, 7. It's remarkable. We had him in Santa Cruz in the G League. You could see his potential just because of his shot blocking and his ability to shoot the ball. And this was a great fit for him coming up here to an organization that really valued, that type of athlete. And good for Chris that he's been able to make a career out of it and stay in one place for so long. That's not easy to do in the NBA, but he's earned it, obviously. He's a good player.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about 5 years ago when your team had that one down run and the injuries were piling up and the losing streaks kind of similar to this year's Raptors team. How did you motivate the guys to kind of see the big picture down the road?
Yeah, we were just talking in there about losing to the Raptors in St. Pete by about 60 points that year. And might have been the low point for the Warriors in my time here. I felt like the important thing that year was maintaining the culture and what the players feel coming into the building every day, the vibe, knowing that we were going to get players back the following year, that if we could, keep the culture of development and work and joy, and take something out of what was a difficult situation, without kind of giving in, that would be valuable. And I think it did pay off, because we had some young players, guys like Jordan Poole, who were struggling through that year, but gained valuable experience and really helped us win a lot of games and a championship, a few years later. So that was an important time for us to just try to keep things moving forward.
Coach, obviously you've been a part of the Bulls and the Warriors dynasties. From your experience, what would you say is the most important thing or the biggest challenge for a team that has achieved such great success to stay competitive as your core players age?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the reality of sports and life in general. You get older and you're trying to stay at the top of the mountain, and no matter how you slice it, it's not going to last forever. So you want it to last for as long as possible, and you put every ounce of effort into making that happen as best you can. These runs that you're talking about, they happen because of Michael Jordan and Steph Curry, these once in a generation players. And so you ride those guys as long as you can, as long as they're capable, and then you've got to move forward, and everything changes. And so I think that's where we are right now. Steph is still playing at a really high level. The last couple of years, we've been fighting like crazy and competing just to stay in the game. Last year, 46 wins wasn't even enough to get in the playoffs. So it's gotten tough and tougher and tougher. But we're fighting, and we're going to keep going until we're not going anymore.
Coach, you've had this partnership with Steph for so many years. What is the key to maintaining a relationship like that over time? Because I think especially today's NBA, you don't see kind of a coach-star relationship like that lasts, over time.
The key is that Steph Curry is one of the greatest human beings I've ever been around in my life, and obviously a great athlete, but someone like him, it's so easy to form a partnership with Steph, just because of his authenticity, how much he cares, how hard he works, the joy he brings to the gym every single day. He's a really easy guy to coach, but also demands a lot of his teammates, and so he sets the tone. He sets the culture every single day. So I'm just lucky to coach him.
Coach.
Last one, go ahead.
Darko, since he's come to Toronto, has really emphasized ball movement as like a core principle that he wants to highlight. Of course, that comes with a lot of turnovers. The more you move the ball, probably turnovers go up too. How do you maintain that balance as a coach of like encouraging a lot of ball movement while also restricting and keeping, I guess, some sort of standards for turnovers and value possessions?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like it's possible to do both. I mean, I look at it from a positive standpoint. The more passes you make, the more decisions the defense has to make. So my glass is half full, yours is glass half empty. But the way we try to approach it is you have to keep hitting singles. You have to just keep making simple decisions, and a lot of that is on us as coaches to put the players in a position where they don't have to make difficult decisions. But where we've sort of walked the line over the years is because of our talent and our shooting, especially early in my time here, we'd get a little crazy, and some of those years we would push the envelope and the turnovers wouldn't bother us because we were generating such good pace, and our talent would take over, and so we could win turning the ball over more than our opponents. This year, we are actually doing really well on the turnover front. We're top 5 in the league in the possession battle, offensive boards, turnovers, creating extra possessions, and we're a 500 team. So it really all depends on your personnel, but I believe in ball movement. I always will. It's not just what it does to the defense, but the chemistry, the energy it generates within your own team. But it's all about making simple decisions and just keep making the easy pass. And if you do that with good cutting and good pace, the game flows. And I think Darko shares the same philosophy as I do, for sure. Thanks.
Thank you.